Yeah, calisthenics number 12. Yeah. Fly robotics. Bifocals, my only purpose is to feed the locals. I'm spreading love when I see you and gotta approach you. I see the goodness in you, I wouldn't John Wick you. I know you hustling for your family just to pay the fiscal. I see the God up in you, He bless your physical. While we navigating problems, the world is abysmal. Skip the one up, let's get it to the center. Your house is big as mine, we can always help each other. Affirmation smother, it ain't even cost me a dime to uplift my brother.
Family, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Vulnerability is the New Sexy. You know, this is where we at. We keep it real here. We keep it honest. We talk about things that, a lot of people don't want to talk about. I'm your host, Joe Corley. I'm a licensed therapist, mental wellness advocate, and I just generally believe that vulnerability is the way. It's powerful. And today is the second Tuesday of the month, so you know what that means. I got my incredible panel of Black clinicians joining me, people who understand our struggle, our culture, our strengths, and we talking about real life situations that everyday Black folks go through and deal with on the regular. And we're not just talking about relationships; we're talking about other things that we face in the culture. And I've taken questions from y'all audience, and I've generated some of them and put them together, and we're going to answer some of these questions today, and I'm taking them right now. So if you have things that you want to ask a Black therapist about, put it in the chat, please, and we'll try to do our best to get to it if there's time for it, but we're hitting all the mental health in areas: workplace boundaries, families, breaking generational patterns, and we still going to talk about love and trust and all these things that y'all want to hear about as well. So everything you hear today is inspired by real life situations given to me from, like I said, our audience, our community. And I just want y'all to consider this free therapy. So wherever you at, sit back and get this free therapy, get this free game. So let me introduce my panel today. I got my good brother, Dr. Sekou, joining us as normal, and my good sis, Jeannie Johnson, also joining us. And, we're about to have a good conversation. How are y'all feeling today?
Feeling fine, feeling good.
Jeannie?
I'm glad to be here, but I've had better days.
You're working down to the wire, huh?
Listen.
Yeah, I understand. Well, look, I'm gonna start off with, a little bit of a warm-up question and see if we can get into it from that. Is that cool with y'all?
Yes,
Absolutely.
I kind of want to know. Sorry, let me get my.
Take your time.
Yeah. Kind of want to know, what is one myth about love or mental health in the Black community that y'all wish y'all could just throw away forever? Something that y'all come across frequently that you kind of wish, like, okay, I wish that would just go. I'm gonna start with you, Jeannie.
Oh, sure. With love or the mental health community.
Whatever.
I would say, I think I will, because love is such a huge component of what I do. I will say one, I think, myth in the Black community that I would love to just trash as a whole is that Black people don't know how to cultivate loving relationships that culminate in marriage and unity in that format. I would like that myth to be tossed out.
Okay, cool. I agree with you. What you, Dr. Sekou?
Yeah, I guess I'd have to go with the mental health aspect where, they say that Black men don't attend therapy, that we don't want to talk about issues. We do. It's just that we have to feel that we can connect with the person, and it's a safe space for us to really just get raw with the therapy process.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely.
We've heard that.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. I know you've been doing a lot of work on mental health for men, Jeannie. So I know that kind of
Absolutely. Hits home in a
hits
big
me.
way.
Yeah. Do you want to
Mhm.
expand on that?
Yeah, as someone who has moved from a practice that was primarily women to a practice that's now 65%, 35% men dominated. Yeah, they've needed help a long time. We've needed for a very long time to change the language and to be inviting. And now that the invitation, I think, is getting clearer, the message of you don't have to hold all of this on your own, that we can build a game plan, that there's strategy in therapy. Now that that exists, I think men are definitely gravitating towards getting help much more often and recognizing it's not only about feelings. That's a big proponent, but strategy is huge in attending therapy. And
Yeah.
they relate to that kind of language. I've had to change my brain to work with them and do better. So
What do you mean when you had to change your brain?
I've had to change the way that I approach things. I think I am a woman, obviously, and I have a very sort of intuitive and an intuitive and soft way of approaching things that includes more of the abstract and more of the picture in the immediate, where I don't know that I see that same like connection with men when that's where I am. When I'm more in the future focused and the goal, like very specific goal directed, very logical. This is how you maintain um, control, or this is how you maintain regulation. This is how you become the best observer so that you can provide most effectively. That language is a totally different language. And it was not my language as a woman. It just wasn't.
Has that I don't mean to beat on this, but I'm curious now.
Okay.
Has that impacted your personal life at all?
I think it's helped me to connect better. Yeah, absolutely, with the men in my life. But I have an anomaly experience because the men in my life, I have a very my family life is male dominated, like extremely male dominated. We don't have a lot of women. And so the men in our lives are they like, there's a lot of attention because there's so many men, like the women get a lot of attention. So they're very, I don't know, they've almost like learned to function in a way that like is very much, they recognize fully the role of the women in their lives. And it's really very important to them. Like even the way my father is with my mom, the way my uncles are with me, I've always felt that they trusted me to not only live inside of my intuitive and emotional brain space, but they've always also trusted me to be able to balance very well the logical and the practical way of being. Like they've just trusted me to like make they've never been like, oh, we got to mess up a guy and go show up and vet who you bring home. They're like, no, if Jeannie brought him home, it's because Jeannie's got it and Jeannie understands this person and this person is obviously a good person. They've trusted me to be me and trusted that my voice should always be the loudest voice in decision making. And that's what you get from men who love you. They know that you can figure it out. They're not looking to control you. So I think that's to some degree, it's a unique experience.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I find that very interesting. Oh, okay. Well, I'll answer the question too. I feel like the one thing that I want to throw away is that the mindset that resilience, turning that into a prison, your resilience into a prison. Basically, Black people don't need therapy because we just figure it out. We're strong and resilient because we've been through so much already. And I think that teaches us to like normalize a lot of pain,
Mm-hmm.
and like carry our trauma in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And I get hung up on this word vulnerability because I struggle with it in the beginning, even as becoming a therapist, because the word itself is for those that grew up the way I did, or maybe you did, it's synonymous with weakness,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say vulnerable in a real way. So I just want our community, we have endured incredible hardships and continue to this day. But we should be open to the healing space. And I just want everybody to get that, it's crazy when you talk to certain people, and I'm just like you said, Jeannie. I see a lot more people that are, and like Sekou said too, I see a lot more people that are looking to get into this space, right? Get into healing.
Yeah.
But I just, to me, I just sometimes when you bring it up in certain circles, they look at you like you got three heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was like, I just want y'all to understand that true strength is getting into that space and dealing with the things that you don't want to talk about, the uncomfortable stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
True.
get there, y'all. Get there. Okay, so my idea today was to take scenarios and from the audience, stuff that people have asked me, and submit that to us, the panel. Basically, again, providing free therapy for the community. Okay, and and I was at first I was like, nah, just deal with the relationship questions, but then I was like, you know what, we deal with a lot more than just relationships. So
Oh,
I'm going to take some relationship
gotta give
questions.
did you give your disclaimer, Joe? You've got to give your disclaimer. If you're like, this is free therapy, however, disclaimer, it is not meant to be a replacement for, for your actual provider and individual practitioner. It's meant to augment your experience for educational purposes.
Yeah, this is just a step up from y'all using Chat GPT, because I know y'all been using Chat GPT for therapy. A couple steps up, but go to therapy, y'all. Straight up, don't be in Chat
Don't forget,
GPT.
we don't want to get sued here.
Having full blown conversations with Chat GPT.
Wild.
Stop it. Stop it. Don't be right all the time, y'all. I asked Chat. It was something about like old school R&B or something like that. It was just totally wrong. I was like, hey, this thing be wrong.
It
Anyway,
has a particular investment, I think, in being agreeable in a way that I don't.
yes.
I've tried to like finagle, and you want to understand the tool, right? So you use it in ways that are relevant to you. And yeah, I find it looks to be agreeable in ways that are like, actually, you could have this client or this person really like in this perpetual cycle of reflecting upon them the opinion they already have because you're being agreeable, and that's not what therapy is. So yeah. It's been banned, actually. I think it was at Iowa recently who just banned like
They're actually
I
supposed
think
to
that's where we are. Yeah.
What'd you say, Sekou?
Regulating a little
Yeah,
bit.
they are supposed to be removing that function for it because a lot of people are just turning to Chat GPT as therapy, and they're going to remove that function where, hey, we're not going to really just get into answering these deeper questions and refer you out,
Yep.
which would be helpful. Yeah.
I think before I get into these questions I got from the audience, this is a good time to like have y'all describe y'all style of therapy, because everybody has different styles in their life. But I want to know kind of how would you summarize your style, the way you approach when you get into that space. And I'm gonna start with you, Sekou.
Yeah. So for me, I just tell my clients how I look at therapy. It's puzzle pieces, that we all have puzzle pieces, that you're going to drop some on the ground. I'm going to drop some on the ground. And we take our time each week to start to put the pieces together so we can have some form of clarity. And it's not a race in therapy. As long as we're moving in the right direction, that's really all I'm concerned. So whatever you bring to me that day, that week, that's pretty much what we're going to roll with. But we're going to look at how all of these pieces connects back to that main issue that you're coming to therapy for. So there's a lot of clues. And all we're doing is figuring out things together, coming up with a strategy or plan for the client or the family.
Absolutely.
Okay. What about you, Jeannie?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So my approach is consistently in the existential. So it's what's happening in the now, what are you confronting in the now, and what are your value systems, and how let's talk about, let's figure out how you're aligning with those value systems. So if you have certain behaviors that are existing um, that denote that you're perpetuating something against yourself it isn't agreeable to your values, how can we consistently move you into alignment? And it's just using different perspectives, evidence-based perspectives, to accomplish that. So using things like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT as they call, using dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT as they call, using the existential principles, which are like, this is what's happening in my life. Some people call it existential crisis. Really, existential is just what's happening in the moment. What are the things that I'm putting on myself or believing about myself in the now that I need to challenge to be my best self, and the behavioral perspective as well. So like, what is the action consistently that's happening in the now? Sometimes we have to look back. So there's a lot of trauma focus that I do. I see that specifically with males. There is a ton of trauma around their voices being stifled at some point, around them needing to show off their feelings and emotions at some point. And we need to help them to learn to be intentional about, one, naming what's happening for them, and then two, understanding how their process changes based on having the understanding of what's happening for them, because it does change actually quite a bit, changes abruptly, and they worry that it's going to affect how they've been enacting like their practices in this little ecosystem. So how they've been with their wife, their girlfriends, their partners, whatever, their children, etc. So
yeah, no, I was going to ask you that question. You answered it already. I'm gonna throw it to Sekou too.
yeah.
Often, how much time do you spend, Sekou, going back?
Well, it just depends. For me, I think it's important to have a background, to have an understanding of how did we get here. So, of course, during the first couple of sessions, I really want to know about you. I want to know what are the pressing issues, and I'm looking for certain clues that may connect back to some of that, whether it's trauma or certain situations that you have faced, but you never really fully explored it. And now, since you're in therapy, you're starting to open up and starting to explore, and you want to get a better understanding of self. So that's my approach to that.
What when the client comes in and they don't have something pressing on them right now, and they're like, I'm just here because I feel like I need to be here. You get those kind of clients.
Yeah.
Where do you start? Where do you start, Sekou?
Yeah. If a client just comes in and is like, hey, I just want to talk to someone, well, I'm going to wonder what is precipitated.
Before you answer,
Yeah.
I'm trying. What is your first question? Is what I'm saying. Do you to get them?
Oh, the first question I ask them,
Yeah,
they're like, hey, I just want to come check in and stuff like
right.
that. Well, I want to know is like, how long have you been thinking about therapy, or how long has this been on your mind? Just check it. Well, I've been thinking about it for a while, or a friend said this or that, or someone suggested it. Well, then let's actually go back there and think about, were there any events that have activated something to make you feel I need to talk to somebody? Because there's usually something kind of looming around, and now some action or something happened, and now you want to take it a little bit more serious about, let me go see what this therapy thing is all about. So it may not be something really hardcore or pressing, but there's something always there, and it's more so about turning over the stones to figure things out.
Yeah, I know. For me, as a black male therapist, I sometimes care about the psychology of why you chose a black male therapist. So
Okay.
I ask the questions of like, why did you choose this situation? What were you expecting out of this?
Yeah.
I don't start there, but I eventually always ask. And I don't know, is that different for you, Jeannie, as a woman?
I mean, I never ask them why they chose me. No, I mean, they tell me sometimes. They do tell me why they chose me, but I think we have more of a conversation of because I let them know in the beginning on that intake, like we are looking to see if we can fit together. I let them know, like, this is not permanent. Like, you're here. We're understanding, and both of us are understanding whether we can work together. Because I refuse clients, because you have to understand that everybody's not for everybody, and that there is a responsibility that you have, even where a client might think, I don't want to do this process, or I don't want to be in this, or like, you seem fine. There's a responsibility for you to understand whether or not you can be effective in working with them, and whether or not you can see almost like glimmers of their ability to open up. And I'm always looking for that in clients. Like, do I see spaces where I can get in, where they're letting me in, where they're inviting me? Or do I see someone who's like intensely closed off, who maybe I can see little areas where, okay, I'm adding elements of my femininity, I'm adding elements of more logical, more emotion-based ways of being. Like, I'm showing up in certain ways to see how they're then reacting, to figure out if stylistically we work, because we may not. It's important to vet that in that first at least hour-long session.
Mm-hmm. Answering the question myself, also, I would say that I would consider my style. When asked, I always say I call it confrontational empathy. You know what I mean? That's kind of my thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you are full of shit or bullshitting, I'll tell you, but I'll rub you on your back and tell you why I'm telling you this, and you know what I mean, like, and where that bullshit is coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just what I do. It works well for me. It worked well for me as I was going through therapy.
Mm-hmm.
My therapist called out a lot of my stuff, called out a lot of my bullshit,
Yeah.
and that worked for me. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I do. Um, but I'm curious, throwing that same question to you, Jeannie. What is your like first question when somebody doesn't have like a focus for coming into their session?
Oh yeah, I'm a big proponent of asking them about how they relate to 5 specific elements of their world. So can you tell me a little bit about how you relate to yourself, how you relate with your family, how you relate with your friends, how you relate in your romantic relationships, and how you relate in your career? Usually, what I will learn of them will help us to understand how we can create a trajectory for working together.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Y'all got plans. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. All right. Question number 1. Go with this one. Everyone leans on me, but no one checks on me. How do I set boundaries without feeling like I'm abandoning people? You kind of just spoke to that a little bit, Jeannie, when you talked about the men in your family. So I'll let you tackle that first.
Yeah. That's a tough one. Everyone leans on me, but no one checks on me. Before we get to the question of boundaries, which I know is a huge question, and absolutely I think we can create those, I want to get to the question that I hear in what you said. Everyone leans on me, no one checks on me. What is the degree of self-advocacy that we do? What is the degree of opening up and allowing for others to come in and support us? Because what I find about your characteristics from just what I'm seeing is if people think they are able to lean on you and they're able to lean on you, it could mean that you're showing up inside of character traits of the savior. So there's a bit of savior complex that may be going on here, where you're stepping in all the time, showing up for other people pretty consistently. And so that's what they've come to expect of you. And you're not necessarily advocating for having connection with them where you exist on the other side of that identity. So I want to know that. But how do you set boundaries without having people feel abandoned? We don't control for other people's feelings. You set boundaries by being very specific about the ways to protect yourself, what they look like, and then you enact them. If people have the experience of abandonment in that, if they have feelings about that, it's not for you to manage those feelings. People do feel away when we start to protect ourselves and show up less for them, because that's the consequence, right? People do feel hurt when we say, I don't have time, and we mean it, right? That's the reality. We don't control for people's feelings. They're going to have feelings with or without you. It's not for you to manage them. So we've got to let that rhetoric go, that you can do this and other people will be unscathed. They won't. They'll miss you and they'll still need you, but you need to protect you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I get it. You want to add to that, Sekou? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I look at it like a twofold thing is, did you audition for the role or did you get casted into that role of always being that person that people feel they can rely upon, or this is the go-to person? Because there are some people that feel valued if someone comes to them. So they're like, hey, I'm the person that always takes care of things. But at the same exact time, people just get used to it because you have presented yourself as that person and you have played that role. Versus if you've been casted into the role, it might be a situation, either growing up, you were the eldest of all of the children and you just kind of had to just do it because mom is working full time or dad's not around, or whatever the case might be. But then at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself. What is it taking from you? And then that's when you start working on figuring out how you can start setting some of those boundaries so that you have enough to give to someone else later on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I am in total agreement
Do
with.
they want specificity, Joe? Like a specific script, or what? Do you think you might want to speak to that? Like giving a specific script, or like a specific formulary for creating a boundary around the level of support you're giving?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I will say that in my mind, I always try to make sure that you can shift the narrative and kind of
Mm-hmm.
redefine a relationship in your mind and in a certain way. Like instead of thinking that you're leaving them, I'm abandoning them. I'm trying to teach them to sustain on their own
Right.
because that's a necessary thing. You know what I mean? Like you can't, there's no guarantee that you will be there forever. So, in terms of script, hey, I'm I need you to learn how to sustain on your own, because there's no guarantee that I'm going to be here all the time. That's just one small piece of it. Like, you don't got to cut anybody off cold turkey, but you can set clear limits. I can't, just slowly. Hey, I can't talk about this tonight, but I can check in with you tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Small elements. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you can make it personal to you. Telling them like, hey, I need some time. The words I need are very powerful. If people ignore the words I need, then you need to reevaluate your relationships altogether. If you
Mhm.
tell somebody what you need and they just decide they don't want to honor or respect that, then it's time for you to start, taking that for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always easy. I'm not trying to minimize it and make it sound something like it's easy, but hey, I need to recharge. I can be, and you can put it back on them. I need to recharge so I can be present when we talk. Meaning I don't have the capacity right now.
Mm-hmm.
That feels different than just going to somebody saying, you are draining the hell out of me. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
a little different. I just
I
need
mean, if
some
it comes out like that, hey.
Yeah, if it comes out like that, I mean, like that. But you know, if you are worried about how you make people feel, then I'm just, I'm giving you other language. And I always tell people to start with what you need, because if you tell somebody what you need, that's a little different than telling somebody what, that I just can't be there for you.
Yeah.
It's not about me not being there for you. It's I need to be here for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just respect your own humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's try another one. Let's try another. Great job, y'all. Great job. Yeah.
You too. Yeah.
At work, I feel like I have to be different version of myself. Okay. Just to be accepted. So by the time I get home, I'm drained. Okay. We talking code switching now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How do y'all talk to people about protecting themselves, protecting their mental health against the draining code switching, all the things that come with code switching, especially in the workplace where you have to be professional in order to maintain your income? Sekou, let's start with you, bro.
Yeah, sure. Um, Number one, I think it's important to assess when it comes to that environment or that job that you have, is this even where I'm supposed to be? Because sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
have to take a job, we have to sit in it because whatever reason. Hey, I just need the money, whatever. But I think it's important to fully assess, am I in the right place? And if you realize that you're not in the right place, you need to start working on an exit strategy to get out of it, because it's only going to drain you even more. Because if you feel that, hey, I got to put on the front, do some tap dancing over here, skinning and grinning, and then when I get home, I just don't have it. Well, then majority of your energy is being wasted at work, and you're just probably just getting by as an employee. So I think that's important. But then also there's the fact that, say if you can't get out of that job or you have to be there for a while, I think it's really important that you build and foster good, healthy relationships with either your peers, your staff, you don't have to be buddy with them, but you have to have a relationship for them to know this is who I am, and certain jokes or certain ways that people might play with you, you just got to let them know I'm just not for that. Because if you present a certain way, people know who they can come to with certain things, and other people know, nah, we don't really mess with so and so because they are not that type of person. And that's just it, how I look at it. You either got to figure out how to get out of that system, or you either have to figure out how to play the game to a certain degree and set up your boundaries with whoever you need to set up with. And that's it.
You feel the same way, Gina? You got more to add to that?
I do. I feel the same way. I mean, I think it's the moment you say something to me like I am in, because I hear misalignment immediately. The moment you say I'm code switching and I don't want to, and it's costing me, there's like this deep impact that I'm experiencing, and I'm coming home and I don't feel good about it, and I'm concerned about my mental health because I'm saying I need to protect it literally. I will say, I note it as, okay, we're misaligned here. Our value of authenticity is clearly in question at the moment, and I would start helping to build small steps to get back to that authenticity. Maybe I'd also want to know the origin. So like, to what degree did we code switch because we got cues from our environment that we needed to be something else? And what degree did we code switch because we are used to putting on a mask in any place that is not the home, or in any place that is not in, the personal safe spaces? Where did we learn that? Like, I need the origin story in all of this to understand, how to give, advice that I think is much more holistic. But I would say first and foremost, like, you're misaligned. I would identify, like, I'm in misalignment. There's something else that I want from my environment right now. How can I make steps that's going to get me there? So how can I add a little bit of sprinkle a little authenticity here and there and see what the consequences are. So what shows up in the workspace when I do that, when I show up more as myself? Because some of this is like courage based stuff. How do you protect your mental health? Be brave. Like, don't code switch, my friend. Like, in that meeting where you wanted to say this a certain way, say it that way.
Yeah.
See what happens. Endure.
It sounds like we all are just challenging, first of all, the circumstances that one is in.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me question, what steps are you taking to change those circumstances? Right.
Right.
You're in it. You're in this space. You don't want to be in this space. What exactly are you doing to either get out of this space or suck it up? Because unless they put your name on the front of the building, this is what it is, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we protect our mental health, we allow for consequences to come in and to be honest about those consequences and to be honoring of those consequences, right? You want to protect your mental health? Let's see what the consequences are of showing up authentically, and then deal with them appropriately. Tell your body, tell your mind, tell your spirit, I got you. No matter what these people think or what these consequences might be, I'm going to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a client, I'm just going to call her Jane. Jane, she got passed over for a promotion, right? She was the more qualified person. This is a real scenario. And, she got passed over for a white male and all the things, who was less qualified and had been there less amount of time. And she was really upset about it. And I just kind of sat back and I said, oh, if you got that promotion, were they going to put Jane on the side of the building? You know what I mean? Because it's like, you seem really, involved in like what it is that you're doing. Like, and it wasn't like a passion job. It was a job, like, you're like a claims adjuster or something like that. And I'm like, so are you just like the most passionate claims adjuster in the world? You know what I mean? Like, and I have to ask those kind of questions, because it's like you're allowing yourself to get this upset over somebody else's income or somebody else's passion. This is not what you've aligned yourself to do. Like you're saying, you're misaligned. And then we started talking about, what are your real passions? You know what I mean? That's where you should be getting upset about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what you should be getting upset about.
So you noticed that there was a trade-off she was making. She
Yeah,
was
for sure.
sacrificing her passions for the sake of like making money in this job. And so the promotion offered her the reason to not pursue her passion. It's like, you know what, at least if I have this great job that makes money, then I can hide in the fact that like I'm not actually pursuing what I really want and truly need to be.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
we do that all the time. My
Yeah,
days.
right. I wasn't minimizing her feelings. You know what I
No.
mean? It was more of a just being real about what you're talking about, and they're not going to put you on the side of the building. You know what I mean? That's their company. So
Mhm.
whatever they choose to do with their company is not really your concern. And that was like maybe a year and a half ago. Now that same woman is thriving in her own business.
Love
Right.
that.
You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like this is a
Yeah.
real it's really happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And has no concern whatsoever. Still at the same job, but has no concern about whether they promote you or not, because that's not, you know what I mean? Like we have to get we think, especially in our community, that we get into these roles and these jobs and these corporations, and our only goal or mission is to climb this ladder, and that is the symbol of success. So part of when I'm talking about code switching and whatnot, like you just said, you want to talk that way, because what definition of success do you have?
Right.
What definition of success? Where did you get it from?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get this from that you feel like you being the team lead is you being successful?
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing. You know what I mean? We got to open up and expand our mind to a different level of success that involves our purpose and our passion. And our purpose and our passion is not going in and busting our ass until we're 65. There's somebody else whose name is on the side of the building. If you do that, I'm not knocking that,
No.
but don't beat yourself up because you haven't done whatever for whoever put their name on the side of the building.
Yeah.
If you're naming on the side of the building, that ain't your passion.
It's not yours.
You know
Not
what I
if you
mean?
have verbalized it, no. And if I'm catching glimmers that this is not what you truly want, yeah, it is our work for me to
Right.
call that out and help you to start to expand on that little space that's disrupted by the chink in the armor with this, this lack of promotion. I love when that stuff happens. Sometimes I think that our clients and people in the world don't recognize where like a failure gives us the opportunity to take a look at like, how hanging my hat on something that like actually I've only been using that. I've only been using that as a crutch. I've only been using that so that my focus there and my worth can be there where I know fully that it's actually meant to be focused and aligned with my purpose. So I love that.
Right.
Go Jane.
Yeah, your only goal here is to get income. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you're doing more than what you believe your value is, understand that you aren't being valued, and take that for what it is. Like you said, say, Coop, you're gonna get, shit or get off the pot. You know what I mean? Take that for what they don't value you, and you know what? They don't have to.
Nope.
Nope.
Their goal is exploitation. That's it.
Yeah, you looking for fairness? That doesn't exist.
True.
It doesn't exist. So they don't have to.
Yeah.
I just try to get people to get rid of them cognitive distortions as often as I can, especially when it comes to work.
Boy. Yeah.
All right, I got another one. I want to open up. It's a relationship one. I want to open up again, but I'm scared of getting hurt. How do I protect myself without building walls?
Ooh.
How do I protect myself? Jeannie, I'll let you take this one first.
Okay. How do I protect myself without building walls? Ugh. We might need the walls. Sometimes we need the walls to get back in there. Walls are called boundaries sometimes. Those exist as walls, as firewalls, right? Like we don't want our computers with no firewalls. Little viruses might get in. I don't know that I think there's a lot of this idea of like, how can I accomplish this without doing things that actually are very natural to do? So what I would say is you can protect yourself and allow yourself whatever comes natural to you in the first phases of showing up more self-protective. maybe there was a time when you were less able to identify red flags in people and it cost you. Maybe you were a bit too open with your resources from the beginning and you need to be more discerning. Those things, boundaries, those expectations, those guidelines for yourself, they can present as walls in some way, not giving things totally up front, pacing yourself, vetting people further can be perceived as walls. I don't know that I want you not having walls, or not having protective entities that exist for you. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
How does this feel? How does it feel when we get? Do you ever get you're in session and somebody says something to you, you don't know immediately what to say? Is that?
Yeah. Sometimes it happens. Well, I'm kind of a, I don't know, not really. It's
You
rare.
always know. Okay. You always know
I'm a
what to say.
talker too, so I don't know, not really.
Say, cool. You always know what to say, man. When you get these weeks,
I don't always have the answers, and I let people know, look, I just don't have the answers for you, especially with grief. That's why I don't really do a lot of grief counseling. Someone drops it. It's like there's but so much you can say. I can tell you about the stages of grief, give you some pamphlets or whatever, but the realest thing I can show you is me being authentic, of not always knowing, and I can be empathetic, but that's just it. I'm human too.
man.
Yeah.
I'm going to a grief training next month. I'm just trying to brush up. We're going to the grief training in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I think I loved how you said that, Dr. Seiko. It's this idea of like, if I don't know, showing up authentically, and I don't know, or in that like your initial question or the conversation doesn't trigger for me an immediate like solution focused response. Like maybe sometimes my retort is just to give empathy. Like I don't think we have to have all the answers in therapy, because I don't think it's a question session. Many times people therapy, and what they need from me in stating something is, I mean, this young man or this person, I don't know. Sorry, I didn't see the sex. But this person said, I've been hurt before. How do I figure things out without building walls? I'm really sorry you got hurt. Man, it's hard out here. It really is hard out here. I'm really sorry that you were hurt and that you were taken advantage of, and that someone showed up in a way that really, it touched your soul in a way now that you feel like you need healing and you feel like you need to do something else and you're scared. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes that's my initial, so it's not I need to give them a smart, like pithy answer.
I'm about to answer this question for y'all, but listen, it's a good number of people out there. Like, if you have any live questions, please throw them out there. I see y'all out there in numbers. So don't be afraid to, throw your question out there and have us tackle it. But for this question, before I throw it to you, Sekou, I'm gonna say that I always try to tell people that, our brain and our nervous system, like their main duties are to keep us safe. And sometimes, just like Chat GPT, that their nervous system and your brain don't always come with logic. You know what I mean? It don't come with logic. It just does whatever the most basic thing it can do, that he thinks is going to keep you safe. So sometimes that may be in your brain's mind. Well, if I isolate, you know what I'm saying, I'll be safe if I just stay away from people. So I want you to change the concept of walls to gates. You know what I'm saying? Turn them walls into gates. Gates got doors open. Gates have doors. You know what I mean? So, but it's still a gate. You know what I mean? It still keeps you off your lawn, but there's a way for you to let people in, and you think of those gates like your boundaries. All right, you know what I mean? Like, if you leave your lawn unprotected, sure, anybody could walk in it. If you leave your gate open, anybody could walk in and do whatever they want to your lawn. But it's there to protect you if you leave it closed, and you got to let the right people into that lawn in order for them to do. So think about what it is for you, somebody that's been hurt. Think about the things that hurt you. What is not negotiable for you? Okay. What will you accept and what will you not accept? Knowing that, okay, you have to know that. right? And you have to understand that and be able to communicate that, and then that way you can, if you communicate that and watch for that, and you know it for yourself, and don't allow anybody to step on those boundaries, then you can build trust in that way before you just give full access to your heart again. You know what I mean? Just know and understand, you have to stay connected to yourself. You know what I mean? Like knowing what your truth is, knowing how to communicate that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's how you're gonna do it. But you also have to understand that, yeah, like Jeannie said, don't be without. I mean, I won't call them walls. I'll stick with gates, but the concept is the same. You know, but if you put a door on your gate, there's a risk. Vulnerability comes with risk. Okay, you have to understand that there's going to be a risk to opening yourself up. There's no guarantee that you won't get hurt again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but you also might find something really beautiful.
Absolutely. And you might hurt somebody else too. I mean, I think that we
risk.
get that. Yeah, that sometimes we can feel better about what we're risking in knowing that other people are risking too. Right? Everyone's risking alongside of us.
Yes. So, is anything you want to add on that, Sekou?
No, it pretty much mirrors a lot of what y'all are saying, because in sessions, when I'm working with clients that have been hurt before, they're entering into a brand new relationship, wondering if they should give too much or should I open more. I just put it to them like this, right? It's like, if you're the king of the castle, a peasant, people just can't come up into a kingdom just like, hey, I'm here to see the king. So there's layers of protection that's there. So of course you're gonna go through the first drawbridge or whatever. You're gonna state the reason why you're here. So it's more of a tier system that you need to set for yourself and realize, how much am I capable and willing to give at this stage of where I am? Because right now I don't feel I got that much to give. So I need to be honest when I talk about wanting to have a relationship. I'm only willing to give you just 5%, but I'm willing to get to know you until I get comfortable. I'm going to give you a little 10, maybe a little 20, 30, but it goes in a tier system. I just say, just be careful about how much you plan to allow people to enter into your kingdom or your queen, whatever it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think, yeah. One way also is just like making sure you're very discerning and selective. I don't think that anyone who's taking a risk for me is calculated risk. So that means I'm not seeing anyone who doesn't meet this higher level standard that I have. Like, don't go about like almost playing small or picking small for the sake of getting yourself back out there. Like, choose the man or the woman or the person who you feel meets the high standard, so that if you're going to take the risk, it's going to be for a really, really incredible reward. And if you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt by the person who you really understand to be like, this could have been a partnership, a true partnership for me. Don't risk for anything less. I think people are getting hurt over people who they never even thought like met their standard, and that's just like, that's wild to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna take one more question before we wrap it. Let me see which one I want to pick. I think I like this one. Let me hear what y'all got to say about this. Okay. I know I'm still working through my own issues, but I don't want to be alone forever. Is it possible to date while you're still healing, or should I wait until I'm fully ready? I get this question off actually quite a bit. So I kind of want to know what y'all have to say. I'm gonna steal from y'all today. So Jeannie, you
Want me to start? Oh man, this one's rough.
yeah. You always say you got the answer, so I
I mean, when I say it like off the cuff of my brain, it's just, I absolutely do not believe there's ever I'm like, we're like, is it possible to date while healing? Absolutely yes. Absolutely. Do I recommend it? Absolutely yes. I do recommend it, because I think healing is is consistent. I think it's constant. I think we are all human beings who are interfacing with each other, and so there's opportunity for hurts. There's opportunities for growth. There's opportunities for evolution. And when you want to evolve, and when you want to become something, some greater version of yourself, anytime that you're interfacing in this world is a point to heal old spaces where you find yourself connecting still with the old version of yourself. So yes, absolutely. The other portion of this is, should I wait till I'm fully ready? I don't believe in there being fully ready. I believe that the impulse tells me I'm ready. That's just how I've always lived my life. So if I have the impulse to get a new job, that means I'm ready, because I believe the Lord wouldn't give me the impulse if I weren't. If I have the impulse that the relationship that I've been in isn't working, that means that it's time to have a conversation, because I have the impulse, right? I need to dig a little deeper and figure out what's going on. If I have the impulse to be brave, it means it's time to be brave. That's just how I've always lived my life, and that's what I recommend to people, because that's being aligned. When I have the impulse to eat, I eat, because that means I'm hungry, right? So
Yeah.
if I have the impulse to cry, it means I need to cry. I don't need to attach meaning that I'm necessarily sad or despondent or any of those things. It means I have the impulse to cry, and I'm going to follow it, because that is being in alignment with my body, with my heart, with what's going on in my spirit. So if you're saying I have the impulse to date and get back out there, maybe you should follow it. See what it leads to.
Good. Say cool. What do you say? What say you? Say cool.
Yeah, as far as when it comes to healing, it's not like this thing like you start now finished healing after a certain period of time, right? Because there's certain things that when you're in a relationship, people will trigger certain things, or it may harken to memory, and you're like, oh, this kind of reminded me of this pattern of behavior. And that's your own thing that you need to work on, because you are still healing. One of the most important things I think is that you need to be able to be at a place where you feel comfortable and safe with your partner, where you can communicate what's going on whenever you notice those certain uh, things that may trigger you, or you feel this is an old wound that's being stirred up. You need to be able to communicate clearly to your partner exactly what's going on. But I think it's okay to date. But I think it's also important to recognize what trauma has been inflicted upon you, because there's a variety of trauma. There's small trauma, big trauma. It depends where you're at. And if it's something that you're just trying to get over someone by not taking the time to work on yourself, and you're going around dating this person and dating that person, that may be problematic, because you may not really be as ready as you think you are. But you may not want to be able to, or you may not be ready to sit in silence, because a lot of people are afraid of just sitting with their thoughts and really thinking about things and reflecting and journaling and really working on stuff. But if you are working on stuff, you are in the healing process, you should date. You should definitely go out there, see what the world has to offer, but also communicate that to to that person you're dating. Eventually, at some point in time.
Yeah. Some WD-40 for that chair, brother.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm about to toss it soon.
Chair struggling.
Right. Like, drink. Well,
Listen, both of y'all, I think I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying, Dr. Sekou, about not being sure, or whatever you're doing, is it part of your healing process, or is it part of your pain? Basically, what I'm hearing Eugenie saying, it's all a journey. Kind of, it's all one continuous journey anyway. I kind of feel like, you know, like waiting till you're fully ready. Like, I understand what you mean when you say, like, what is that? Because that's like saying, wait till your life is perfect before you start living it. You know what I mean? Like, let's
Right.
just wait till your life is exactly perfect and then go out there and live it. Healing is not a destination, though. It's a journey. It's a lifelong process, right? And I know that's hard for some people, because you get into therapy and just say, I want to be healed, but your life is exponentially better as you're healing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just better if you're on
Yeah.
that journey. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you may never get to a space. Some things may still hurt you. Some things may cause you pain still. But some of those things that used to cause you pain won't be able to affect you as they used to, because you're on your journey.
Yeah.
So we can't sit around waiting for forever
Mm-hmm.
for our lives to be perfect. And like Seiko was saying, that don't mean you jump into situations without boundaries or understanding what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. Are you being honest with yourself and the people that you're trying to date about where you are emotionally? You know what I mean? Are you aware of your triggers and where they are? You know what I mean? Like, do you understand that? And are you working on those triggers? Are you taking time to try to, basically heal some of those things that used to set you off and make relationships difficult for you? You know what I mean? And are you taking responsibility for your own growth? Because you ain't perfect. You ain't perfect. And you got some work to do too. I know somebody hurt you, but you got some work to do too. You got some work to do too. Are you taking responsibility for that? But
Yeah.
dating while you're going through that can be healthy if you approach it, like I'm saying, like a journey, and not like
Yeah.
some kind of rescue mission. Like I'm waiting for the perfect person to come in and I will be fine. It's not a rescue mission, right? That's not how that works. It's a
Yeah.
journey, okay? And when you're
Yeah.
trying to avoid doing your own work, that's where you get knocked off your square, okay?
Very
So
much.
I think all three of us are saying date, okay?
Absolutely. And be
Yeah,
specific about this, like very abstract, fully ready, right? What does that even look like? What is full? If you're going to use that as an indicator, then I need to know what's fully ready. Is fully ready that you are an assertive communicator? Is fully ready that you are able to hold emotional space for someone else? And so your deeper emotions don't get the primary priority and you're being able to share space? Is fully meaning you have like, I don't know, 6 figures in the bank. I don't know, all these people, especially men, with the like, it's just sort of like um, very specific. I've got to be this before I date. So like check yourself in like whatever your criteria is. If you feel like that's necessary for you, being fully ready. What does that mean? So
all right. Thank y'all both. I'm gonna shut it down, but I want, because the mission here is always for our community, my community, the Black community, to get into a space where you understand the power of vulnerability. That's the mission. I'm not here trying to make a million. I like to make a million, but that's not why I'm here. Okay, I'm doing. We do the work to do the work. You know what I mean? Somebody
no,
picked this up.
but I want to make the millions. So
I want to make it too.
be
I
clear,
want to make
please,
it too.
and I speak that over the both of you. I will say that I would love to.
I
Yeah,
want to make a million. I want to
important.
make a million.
Speak it,
But I
G.
want to make a million doing the things that are important to me.
Speak it.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, it's
You
okay to
know,
want and your purpose.
yeah. Too many folks is out there shucking and jiving for that million, and I don't want to do that. I rather do it being me. And the important work for me is getting us into the space where we understand that vulnerability is powerful, healing is worth it, and we all deserve it. So on our way out today, I really want y'all to one, talk about your main takeaways for today. I want you to explain from your perspective why you think Black clinicians are important. Okay. And I also want you to tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay.
Jeannie, go ahead, sis.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Ladies
Take home
first.
for today. I appreciate that. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Okay.
I think take homes for today are just, a lot of the questions that came in are about courage, and they speak to my work of like us being aligned in where we are and aligned in our values, or understanding where we are and aligned in our value systems to move closer to where we want to be. I think keeping an open heart and remembering we're not responsible for the feelings of others. That is for them to manage. That is for them to understand that we are going to be obviously provocations of that, and that's important. That stuffing down our own fear and courage for the sake of staying put and staying the same isn't the route that any of us as clinicians would want you to go. try to look inward and try to offer yourself the opportunity to be brave when it calls to you. So when you feel discomfort, that's a calling to you for change, right? When you feel like it's beyond you at this point, it's a calling to that higher self that's saying, come find me, come align with me. There's better for you. Answer it. Just answer the call. And we're here to help, and find the clinician who's willing to help. As to what is the importance of Black clinicians, I would say 1000% it's about us having an understanding about what the community needs and how the community thrives, that experiential inside data that other people simply do not have. So if you're craving connection with a clinician, a Black clinician specifically, I agree that it's what you should absolutely go for it and work towards that. It's important.
And where can we find you?
And you can find me at numerous places. You can email me at info@forloveinsight.com. You can check out my website at www.forloveinsight.com. It just got revamped, so it should be super easy to use for you to ask questions, connect with me for transformational coaching sessions, or for psychotherapy, whatever you prefer. You can connect with me on Instagram too, but be mindful about all that. Like, not too familiar. Instagram is For Love and Psych.
Stay out them DMs is what she's saying. Stay out them DMs. That's not what this is.
About business. Keep it cute. Keep it about business. I respect that fully.
Okay. We understand. Dr. Sekou said, them DMs is open. Holler at him.
Oh, man.
Does not seem like the type at all. I would say that.
I'm hardly upon them type of networks, man. I got it, but I don't really be using it. Number one, I think the biggest takeaway from today's talk is about trusting yourself, learning to trust yourself and know when you're ready to make certain moves in life, and also being able to communicate those things and those needs to the people that are around you. Also, it's important to have boundaries. Boundaries is one of the biggest things that a lot of people hear about in therapy. Boundaries, like Nasir Jones said, is one of his greatest creations. And it's because it allows you to keep certain things out and allow certain things in whenever you want to, right? As far as where I can be found at www.sagetherapygroup.com. You can find me on Instagram at Dr. Sekou Fraser, and then also TikTok as well, Dr. Sekou Fraser. That's where you can find me, and you can hit me up on email as well. So there it is, folks.
All right. And listen, go to therapy. That's my takeaway for today. For the most part, you know what I mean. Don't be afraid of that space. Black clinicians are important because there's a lot of things that you do not have to explain when you sit down with a Black clinician. Mm-hmm. and that part is important. I don't want to have to educate my therapist on why certain things are hurtful to me. Or, saying certain, like I said, I don't want to code switch in therapy either. You know what I mean? And I know some people just have a tendency to do that. So it's important, man. It's when you can sit down with something. Like I had a brother come to me the other day. I mean, he specifically sought out a Black male, but he didn't know I was from St. Louis. And he was from St. Louis. We just happened to be in Texas. So when he found out I was from St. Louis, just that alone, being Black from St. Louis, I could see already what that did for him, because there's certain things about being from St. Louis and being Black from St. Louis that you don't have to explain to me. You know what I mean? It don't always work out like that, but there's certain things, when you're dealing with your own folks, that you just don't have to explain.
Right.
So to me, that's the most important thing. And listen, stay out of my DMs too, because Donna Corley throws hands and frying pans. You do not want them kind of problems. Okay?
As you do.
Listen, you do not want them kind of problems, and I don't either. All right? But but yeah, go holler at me on TikTok. You know what I mean? Be cute. You know, throw some hearts in there. That's fine. I mean, she
Okay.
knows. You know, I'm her first baddie, so she understands what it's like to be married to a baddie. And you know what I mean? So there's certain things that come with that, and she got to deal with it. So it is what on that. But you know, go to my website and connect to all of my social medias. But go follow my TikTok. Vulnerability is the new sexy. I'm putting out healing content and also humorous content. Just gotta keep y'all, you know, keep y'all going. But I appreciate y'all, my black clinicians for showing up today. I always enjoy this power hour of great minds and great thinking. So once again, thank you both for showing up, and we'll catch y'all next month on vulnerability is the new sexy. Y'all have a good night.
I appreciate
Yeah.
you.
Good night, everyone. Appreciate the invitation as always.
Yeah, y'all. Peace.